Hello everyone, it's Monday, August 26, 2019, and I'm getting ready to start an 11-day backpacking trip in Jasper National Park. On this trip, I've got two guys joining me. One of them you may have heard of before, Joey Coconato with My Own Frontier. We've done some backpacking trips together. And Stuart Howe with How's the Hike on YouTube. This is my first backpacking trip with Stuart. We're all getting along great, and it's going to be a fantastic trip. This is day one of an 11-day backpacking trip on the North Boundary Trail in Jasper National Park in Canada. We started at the Rock Lake Trailhead and we're hiking through Wilmot Wilderness into Jasper National Park. We've got about 8.5, maybe 8.7 miles today. A little discrepancy between the map and the trail guides, so we're not quite certain, but we're hiking to Willow Creek campsite where we're going to spend the night. It is a beautiful day, partly cloudy, temperatures in the mid-50s, and as mentioned before, I'm hiking with Joey Coconato and Stuart Howe, and this is my first time to hike with Stuart, my third backpacking trip with Joey, and I think this is just going to be a real big adventure, and I'm looking forward to it. Also, I'll mention we are ending the trip at the Berg Lake Trailhead, and it's roughly 92 miles.
Willow Creek District.
All right, we're wrapping up day one and we're almost to the Willow Creek campsite. The couple of signs we saw, plus Stuart's GPS, has this trail at 15 kilometers, which is roughly 9.3 miles. So that's completely different from the map and the guidebook. But anyway, it's been a long day. We took us about 5.5 hours to shuttle cars, and we're kind of up late last night, so I'll be kind of glad to get to camp. It's almost 8 o'clock, so a little over 9 miles with 4 hours and heavy packs, so ready to call it a day.
So this thing has been pretty incredible.
Yeah. We can call this vegan and make a shit ton of money.
Day two, and we've got about 8 miles up to the Welborn campsite where we're going to camp tonight. Yesterday we didn't see anyone until we got to the Willow Creek campsite, and there was one other person camped there. The low last night was about 32. It's already up to the low 60s and mostly cloudy.
had a whole video doing an intro this morning of how we don't have to camp in designated camping spots.
Well, someone like Joy chooses to just wade through the water, but us normal people choose to walk across the bridge. This is looking down on the Snake Indian River. We're almost to Welborn campsite where we're going to camp tonight. The map had it at 7.9 miles, but the trail signs and the GPS, it worked out to about 7.3. So this time the arrow was in our favor. It has been a really nice day. We just saw two people backpacking, a father and daughter, and the weather's been incredible. Kind of mostly cloudy all day, temperature in the low 60s, just a light sprinkle. And then the highlight of the day was Welborn Falls, just a massive amount of water coming over that waterfalls.
That old trail to that avalanche camp in Moline Pass.
What I'm actually going to do, I think, is try to cook this thing.
Day 3, and we're going up to Blue Creek campsite where we're going to camp tonight. The map has it at 7.4 miles. The sign said 13 kilometers, which is about 8 miles, so we'll see. Also, yesterday I misunderstood Stuart. It was actually 12.7 kilometers instead of 11.7 kilometers. So the map was right at 7.9 miles. Plus we did a quarter of a mile up to the falls and then a quarter of a mile back. So about 8.4 miles for the day all total. Today is just another fantastic day. No clouds, absolutely incredible. The low last night was about 32 and it's about 60 degrees now. Also, our campsite last night was almost perfect, just incredible, along Snake Indian River. In Joy's terminology, it was a 5-star campsite.
It's like a lake to me.
There's an elk just up ahead. All right, we've arrived at Blue Creek campsite. This sign says that Welborn is 13 kilometers, but according to Stuart's GPS, it was 12 kilometers, which means the map was right at 7.4 miles. The little side trip down to the ranger station was about 0.2, so about 7.6 miles for the day. A lot of lodgepole walking, a few little ups and downs, maybe aggregate elevation gain of 1,000 feet. Highlights of the day with a lake with the beautiful views of those big peaks and the elk. Skinny dip if you want to, I don't care.
We don't want to see that.
Anything I want to do, huh?
Kilometers almost of pine trees.
Does that make you mad if I hung mine on the same tree?
I couldn't care less. Nothing's gonna come and get it anyway.
Just go ahead and hang these up next to mine. Day 4. There's nothing like starting your day with a nice chilly creek crossing. We have got about 9.3 miles to the Three Slides campsite where we're going to stay tonight. Our campsite last night was pretty nice, really good creek close by, but it was a horse and hiker campsite, so there was horse poop everywhere. Yesterday we only saw 3 backpackers, one group of 3. Today it's cloudy and about 50 degrees. All right, we have arrived at Three Slides campsite. Haven't really looked at the campsite, don't know what the sleeping area is like, don't know what the water supply is like, but the view is absolutely stunning.
Man, look at it. That's awesome.
So what were you saying about the bears being on the tree line?
So when they move through these meadows, you know, well, all the animals use the tree line because there's cover, and then they can feed out in the meadows, and there's usually, you know, good food sources. But all the animals will use the tree line as cover, even the bears, and they just usually, like out in the center here, you know, that's like a tree island, that's like a good spot for them to go bed down, or just right on the edge of the tree line. They usually won't do it in a place where they know people are going to be coming by or something else is going to come by and disturb them. You know, they're going to go do it in a place they think they can sleep. And so that's just where you got to be heads up, is if you're going off trail or into an area like that, maybe the trail doesn't get maintained or something like that. That's just where you got to be heads up, because you could easily, you know, like there was a bad attack in Yellowstone once where a guy kind of was walking right past a tree stand like that in Hayden Valley.
And just kind of spooked
Oh
you
yeah.
there?
There's another story in 2011, one of the 2 deaths that were killed there by well, no, sorry, never mind, scratch that. There were 2 deaths in 2011. In addition to that, there was the same bear charged out a guy in the almost the same area of Hayden Valley, and he sprayed her and one of the cubs, and she turned around and ran. But it was just like that, like walking right past a tree stand just out in the middle of a meadow. You know, you're just walking through here, you don't even realize that's a like kind of, you know, a little island of trees, like
Sure.
But all these little spots, I mean, all the animals take cover in that, or the big willows too. I mean, if this was all willows, they wouldn't even worry about it. They would just probably, a lot of times they just squat down. Because that was, I mean, I remember one time I had to go down into some willows because I'd walked, all right, so here's the thing. I was walking down this trail, Pebble Creek Trail in Yellowstone, and you're going in and out of these little small meadows. So I walk out of the, like, into the edge of the meadow from the tree line. There's a sow with 2 cubs. Like, I mean, from here to where you hung your food up there, so a little past the Ursacks, and they all had their backs to me. The wind was blowing straight to us, so they didn't smell me, and I just turned around immediately and backed up. Well, I didn't turn around like direct, you know, I just backed up really fast, bear spray out. So I went down into this meadow to get around them, to bypass the trail, and there's all these willows. So I'm going through the willows, and I pull the willows out like this, and there's a black bear from here to that stump right there. That stump, full-grown black bear with his head down, you know, and he never saw me. And of course, I had my bear spray in my hand already, because that was like bear number 6 of the day, of the afternoon. And so at that point, I just thought God had it out for me or something, and I just went back. I just backed up. I mean, that's one of those times in my life where I just knew in my head I was getting charged. You know, like, and even from a black bear, I mean, that close, he's not going to turn around and run. I mean, I could have just jumped on him, but he had his head down, you know, and he's eating. And so that's the whole point of everything I talk about when I always say that, you know, like, you don't ever really see the bears unless the wind is really blowing this way, and not necessarily see them, but that's when I walk into them, and then they're in that cover. I mean, he wasn't expecting somebody to be down there, but that's creepy.
It's our 5th day, and we're going over to Oatmeal Campsite, where we're going to camp tonight. According to the map, it's about 7.9 miles. Our campsite last night was pretty nice, incredible view. There was just a limited number of sleeping pads and a really small firebox, but it worked out great. Temperature cooled down a little bit last night. The mosquitoes went away. Yesterday we did not see anyone. In fact, after we crossed Blue Creek yesterday, the trail is much less used and more overgrown. Most of the day yesterday and so far today, we've been walking through Fraser Fir Forest with just moss and grass covering the ground. Just absolutely beautiful, almost enchanted forest. All right, we're wrapping up day 5 and we're almost to our campsite tonight, Oatmeal. I do have to wonder how a campsite came to be named Oatmeal, but today was another great day, mostly cloudy, kind of clearing off this afternoon. Temperatures in the mid 60s and another day without seeing anyone.
The bug's bad. We gotta get her going.
All right, this is a very special day. This is Joey's birthday. Happy birthday, Joey.
Right?
Tell us about that special birthday present you found today at camp.
So we got to camp here, walking around, and there was something white underneath this log. And it's a bottle of cannabis. And I guess somebody left it here, and it was pretty wet. So we're trying to dry some of it out. And these guys both committed to smoking some with me to celebrate my 39th birthday. Now come on, this is my last year in my 30s. How many times in your life are you going to get the chance to celebrate that with me in my 30s? 40th? Next year? Well, you can do that too. Anyways, this thank you to whoever accidentally left this here. I'm sure you're probably not in a good mood about that, and I know that probably sucks. I'm going to put it back actually, and yeah, you know, if you're coming through this area anytime in the next year and you want a free toke, stop on in at the Oatmeal campsite. And might have to dry it out a little bit and dig the snow off of it.
Day 3, and we've got about 8.7 miles to our next campsite, which is Bing. We start off with a 5-mile climb and about 1,000 feet of elevation gain up to Snake Indian Pass. And then we've got about a 3.7-mile descent. The map shows this as 7.6 miles, but the sign says 14 kilometers, which is 8.7. So I guess we'll see what Stuart's GPS says at the end of the day.
Bryan's out here making me walk barefoot.
Well, the map wins the battle of the miles today. Turned out only 7.6 miles to the Bing campsite instead of the 8.7 which the sign said. But we got here just kind of by surprise. We thought we had another mile to go, and all of a sudden we were at the campsite. It's a very small campsite on a little bitty hill between a creek and a bog, so the mosquitoes are kind of bad. But today was absolutely beautiful, the most beautiful day we've had so far. The valley going up to Snake Indian Pass was just gorgeous. We took a little break at Snake Indian Pass, and some marmots were whistling, so Joy talked me into getting out my whistle. We played a little game with them. Then he told me the marmots use their whistle to warn of predators coming through, and we saw the predator. It was a wolverine, and my whistle must have freaked him out because he was moving on. He was on a little hill above the pass, and he covered, I don't know, maybe 4/10 of a mile in about 5 minutes. The forecast today was 40% chance of rain, but we were in the 60% no rain all day today. Got a little lucky, had a little sprinkles since we've been to camp, but I'm hopeful our luck will continue.
I don't even know who subscribes to Bryan.
So this morning we had a little light rain, and I'm eating breakfast under my tarp, and I'm facing out the open end. A squirrel comes under the back side of the tarp, jumps on my shoulder, and then jumps onto a tree just outside of the tarp. It happened so fast I didn't even really have much of a chance to freak out. But anyway, day 7, and we're continuing down to Twin Tree Campsite tonight, and it's a short day, only about 6.8 miles, and the morning started off with a nice creek crossing. My feet are already wet, so I think we're going to be in and out of bogs all day, so it may be just another day of wet, muddy feet. We're almost to the Twin Tree Campsite where we're going to stay tonight. And it's been another really nice day, mostly cloudy, but no rain. And the temperature has been about 60 degrees all day. Very few bogs. My shoes and socks are relatively dry compared to yesterday when they were soaking wet all day. And this is just another day we haven't seen anyone. This is the 4th day in a row that we've not seen anyone. This is Twin Tree Campsite. Nice little campsite right at the outflow of Twin Tree Lake. The only problem is we had to walk about 400 feet through a wet bog to get here. So once again, at the end of the day, my feet are soaking wet.
There is another black one underneath.
Well, the question for day 8 is, do we have 10 miles or 11 miles? The map shows it at 10.2 and the signs show it at a little over 11 to Chown Creek, where we're going to spend the night tonight. Last night we had a few rounds of rain, with each one lasting about an hour. Some of them were heavy at times. So far, that's been the only significant rain we've had. We're almost to Chown Creek campsite, where we're going to camp tonight. And the map wins today. It looks like the miles is going to be 10.2. Today's just another beautiful day, mostly sunny. Temperature in the upper 60s, and we only saw one backpacker today. I tell you, if there's anything I'm grateful for today, it's that bridge over Twin Tree Creek. As we were approaching the creek, walking beside it, I was thinking, man, this is going to be bad if we have to cross this. But fortunately, there was a bridge there. Day 9, and we've got about 6.9 miles over to Wolverine North, where we're going to camp tonight. A campsite at Chown Creek last night was a little small. The soil was a little rocky and hard to get the stakes in, but the view was absolutely outstanding. It's just another beautiful day, not a cloud in the sky, and the temperature's in the low 60s. We're wrapping up day 9 and we're almost to Wolverine North campsite where we're going to camp tonight. Today was just a beautiful day. Didn't see anyone, crystal clear skies, temps in the mid 60s. Walking through enchanted forest with an occasional magnificent view. The highlight for the day, I guess, was crossing Coconato Creek, which wasn't that bad, a little deep and a little cold.
We've made it to the Wolverine camp.
Wow.
Which is, I actually like it, but I mean, it is literally
Good tent pads.
great tent pad.
Yeah.
How many kilometers, Stuart?
Of course, I'm standing on the trail.
13 1/4.
But there's
The mile of the map was a little off.
Yes, everything was off.
Day 10, and we've got about 8 miles to Adopolis where we're going to camp tonight. This morning started with a light rain. The willows are soaking wet. It's still mostly cloudy and looks like it could rain at any moment. But anyway, the temperature's pretty cool, about 55 degrees, and the trail has been, so far this morning, a little intermittent. Following the creek, the trail's washed out in places, and a lot of mud. All right, we have arrived at Adopolis, our campsite, and the map and the signs were wrong. According to the GPS, it was only 7.2 miles. It has been cloudy all day, sprinkles on and off, but the real issue was all the wet willows we walked through. So we didn't see anyone today, and in the last 7 days, we've only seen one person. Day 11, and I'm not quite sure how the day is going to work out. We're hoping we can find a place to camp at Edmonton Falls, or excuse me, Emperor Falls, or Whitehorn. However, it's in Lake Berg Provincial Park and you got to have a permit. So if not, we got about a 16-mile day today. It was a little bit chilly this morning. Temperatures were in the upper 20s, ice all over everything, tarps, cords, hard to get rolling. But we had one guy who's camped at our camp last night. Go ahead, Grass, go Grass. We had, come on Grass, you gonna follow me? You better fly. Is it too cold for you to fly this morning? So we had one solo backpacker that came into our camp last night. So, and then as soon as we get up to Berg Lake, it is going to be a people fest. We're almost back to the Berg Lake trailhead, and wow, what a backpacking trip. Just absolutely incredible. Not quite what I expected. The forests were more dense. The floor of the forest was much more lush, and we didn't quite have as many big open areas and walking along the riverbeds as I thought, but it did not disappoint. It was absolutely incredible. And I think the total miles for the trip is going to be just a little over 99 miles. I want to thank Joey for inviting me on this trip. I want to thank Stuart for putting the trip together and modifying his permit to include me. Stuart had to get back to Canmore, so he left a little early today and he's got a long drive ahead of him. So Joey, what did you think about the trip?
I loved it. It was a camping trip, and it was just a very relaxing trip. We got to enjoy camps, got a lot of solitude. There wasn't many people, I think 4 groups, until we hit Berg Lake. And that just, you know, just sometimes it's fun to be out there and be remote. And I think that trip hit it right there on the money. So, got to see Wolverine. I think that was probably the coolest thing. So I loved it. I'll do it again. Although I probably would add some variation. That's all I got.
All right. What a fantastic backpacking trip. My first backpacking trip in Canada. And the most days I've ever backpacked. So hope you enjoyed the video and thanks for watching.